The blessed state of the righteous dead. Revelation 14:13. Introduction. 1. In describing the revelation that was shown to him, John heard words of comfort. Then I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, Write, Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Revelation 14:13a. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them. Revelation 14:13b. 2. What else does the Bible say about the state of the righteous dead? In regards to the intermediate state. B. That period from the moment of one's death until the resurrection of the last day. The answer depends upon what covenant was in force, but in both testaments we find words of imagery that suggests a condition of blessedness for the righteous dead. Consider what we find. During the Old Covenant, words that comforted. 1. The death of God's saints was precious in His sight. Psalms 116:15. 2. The death of the righteous was rest and peace, confronting evil no longer. Isaiah 57:1 and 2. Such words hinted of a blessed condition of the righteous dead in Old Testament times. B. Imagery that consoled. 1. The beggar Lazarus was consoled and comforted. Luke 16:19 through 22 and 25. 2. The reference to Moses places this during the Old Covenant. Luke 16:29 through 31. 3. Jesus' account accords somewhat with the Greek concepts of Hades. 4. The Greek concept of Hades was that of a locality receiving into itself all the dead, but divided into two regions, one a place of torment, the other a place of blessedness. 5. Greeks referred to the place of torment as Tartarus. Peter also in 2 Peter 2:4. 6. Jews viewed the place of blessedness where Abraham was as paradise. 7. Jesus later promised the thief that he would be with him in paradise. Luke 23:43. 8. Which between his death and ascension must still have been in Hades. For after his death Jesus descended to Hades. Acts 2:27. Yet after his resurrection he had still not ascended to heaven. John 20:17. The story of Lazarus and the promise of the thief on the cross illustrates the blessed state of the righteous at that time. While the Old Covenant was still in effect, little was revealed about the state of the righteous dead. We now live under the New Covenant, where more is revealed and the blessedness is even greater. During the New Covenant, words that comfort. 1. Paul viewed his impending death as a departure, using a metaphor drawn from loosing from moorings preparatory and to setting sail. 2 Timothy 4:6. 2. Peter used the Greek word exodus, translated decease, meaning exit, the same word used to describe the exodus of Israel from the Egyptian bondage. 2 Peter 1:15. 3. Paul wrote of death as a gain, something far better than living. Philippians 1:21 and 23. 4. He looked forward to being with Christ, at home with the Lord. Philippians 1:23 and 2 Corinthians 5:6 through 8. 5. He described the righteous dead as asleep in Jesus, yet living with him and coming with him. 1 Thessalonians 4:13 and 14 and 5:9 through 11. 6. He described paradise as now in the third heaven, the presence of God. 2 Corinthians 12, 1-4. A. Could the location of paradise have changed from Hades to heaven? B. Many believe that such occurred at the ascension of Christ, as suggested in Ephesians 4, 8-10. Death for the righteous now promised something far greater. B. Imagery that consoles. 1. Jesus made promises that clearly refer to the eternal state after the judgment. A. The right to the tree of life, Revelation 2:7, 22, 2-14. B. Not hurt by a second death, Revelation 2:11 and 21:8. C. Names not blotted out of the book of life, Revelation 3:5, 20, 12-15. 2. Yet also those that refer to the intermediate state between death and the resurrection. A. To reign over the nations with Christ, Revelation 2:26-27, 3:21, and 20:4-6. B. To walk with him in white, clothed in white garments, Revelation 3:4-5, 7, 9-17. Jesus describes blessings for the righteous dead prior to eternal state. Conclusion. 1. The condition of the righteous in the intermediate state has always been one of bliss. A. As depicted by the story of the rich man and Lazarus. B. Yet that only describes the condition while the law of Moses was still in effect. 2. The New Testament indicates that the condition of the righteous dead changed after Jesus ascended to heaven, so that A. Paradise is now in the presence of God in heaven. B. Faithful Christians can look forward to being with Christ upon their death. C. The righteous dead are now in the presence of Jesus, comforted by him and serving God in his temple, even reigning with him. 3. But if righteous dead are in heaven now, what happens after the resurrection and judgment? A. God and Jews will dwell with them in the heavenly city, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven into the new heaven and new earth, Revelation 21, 1-22 and 5. B. A promise Peter and the early Christians looked forward to, 2 Peter 3:15. Wonderful are the words John heard from heaven. Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on.